Hello and welcome to the Board Avengers Gen Con 2022 preview. We've each prepared 3 games we are excited and want to check out at Gen Con, and we're going to talk about them tonight.
That's right.
So we got most of our information from the BGG Gen Con 2022 preview list put up by Eric Martin. I highly recommend that you go over to BGG and check out that list. It's very well put together and a good way to see what's coming to the con. So, yeah, we've got 3 games. They're in no particular order. We've asked some of the other board vendors to prepare some lists of games, and we'll see theirs later on. But anyway, Em, do you want to go first for us tonight? What piqued your interest when you were looking at the Gen Con preview list?
Okay. Ooh, didn't expect this. Woo! The first game that I saw. So a lot of times I scroll and base it off of art. I'll be honest. It is like straight up, that's pretty. And so Septima, is that how you say it? Septima?
No idea.
I believe so. Was the first game I picked. So this game is 1 to 4 players. It says 50 to 100 minutes. It is an interactive strategy game of witchcraft. As a leader of your coven, you must prove your worth in the town of Nachtenberg. Sure.
Whoa. Okay.
To become the successor of Septima, so the High Witch. So you practice your craft, you gain wisdom, you collect herbs, brew potions, heal townsfolk. And then you also, I just saw the one thing, if you and another player like do the same card or do some same action, I don't know exactly, it raises suspicion. And so then you have to be careful because then the town might be like, hey, I know you're a witch. And so you have to you get a bonus for doing that, but you don't want to get too high. And so it seemed like there was a lot going on with this board, which I really liked. The art was really cool. The components looked really cool. It's not a theme that we've played, so I want to check it out.
Yeah, when I saw this on your list, I was super pumped because I feel like I'm Mind Clash interested. I've always wanted to play a Mind Clash game, Anachrony, Cerebrium. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I haven't played them.
That's embarrassing.
They're always kind of very heavy Euros that are, the theme is integrated. And they've been sort of selling this, at least from what I heard, as one of their easiest ones to get into. So if you want to get into the Mind Clash world, this is a good place to start. They recently had a Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to check this one out too, and I like the theme. It's kind of fun and interesting. Looks cool.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Okay, what's your first one?
All right, my first pick. I say it often that I like deck builders, and I like deck builders of all shapes and sizes. But the games that I can get played more often are better. And I find Clank to be an easy sell to both gamers and non-gamers alike. The kids are almost old enough even to start playing Clank with us, and I think some of them are actually. I have a lot of Clank expansions, and we've played through Clank Legacy. So when I saw Clank Catacombs...
Wow, you cannot remember that. You're always like, it's a Clank.
Clank Catacombs from Direwolf is going to be at Gen Con. I decided I really, really want to check it out. So the interesting thing about Clank Catacombs is instead of there being a dungeon map, which is set ahead of time, and then where the artifacts are on the map is predetermined, it's sort of you don't know what the dungeon is going to look like. And in Clank, you're going to delve down deep, and the deeper you get, typically, the higher level treasures you find, but then you have to turn around and try to get out. And the idea is to try to sort of trap the more greedy adventurers in the dungeon.
That's always fun.
That's always me.
That's always fun.
Clank's a great game to then sort of mix it up and have sort of what I feel like is a more fun, interesting way to play it. I don't know. I really want to check this out.
So this one's tiles, right? Now, are the tiles all laid out and then you flip them as someone's exploring that way? Do you
I don't think so. I think there's a stack of tiles,
so
and when you say
out.
I explore in this direction, I pull a tile off of the stack. That's what I think. That's my impression.
That is cool. I do like that you don't know if going deeper is better or not when it comes to like finding treasure
Right.
or a way out or whatever. Because a lot of times for the game, you can pre-plan, like you said. Oh, I have 1, 2, 3, so many moves, blah blah blah, and you can do that. Where in this, it's like you're gambling, which is fun.
Yeah, and it's a standalone experience. They said like you can just buy this and play it. It has player cards and a dungeon deck and all that kind of stuff. But it also says feel free to use your dungeon deck from your other versions of Clank and Clank expansions or whatever. So it's all
That's fun.
it can all be mixed together. You could take the dungeon deck from this and your legacy dungeon deck and your regular Clank dungeon deck from all the expansions and make one gigantic 500 card dungeon deck. That would be absolutely crazy.
That is cool. I like that you can mix and match and whatnot.
Yeah, so that's my first pick. That was the one I saw on the list that was like, that's going in my 3.
I
Like,
knew.
this
I
one,
almost put it down, but I was like, why am I putting a game for Ben? So because I knew you would put it down. So I'm like, why? I don't know. It's almost like I was going shopping for you, and I wrote it down.
well, we should go play Clank after this. I mean, why not? Now that we're talking about it.
It happens to be set up
Whoa,
upstairs
whoa, whoa.
already.
All right, what do you got? What's
Okay.
number 2?
Number 2 is Cora Quest. Now, Cora Quest is a 1 to 4 players, ages 6+. It's a cooperative dungeon crawling game. Players work together to guide adventurers exploring a dungeon, avoiding traps, finding treasure, fighting monsters, and sometimes rescuing a gnome called Kevin. That's the
The
description
gnome
of
is
it.
called Kevin.
But this is a little girl, a daughter, and a father made this game when I think he was like, well, I think it was during quarantine, actually. They were stuck inside, and they're like, hey, let's make a game. But I like kid games because, like, you can never have too many kid games for different ages and for the whole family to play. This looks like it'd be fun for us and kids. Like, I'm not going to be bored with it, where some kid games, you're just kind of, like, playing along. The art is really cool because it's sent in from like kids sending in their art and then they base it off of like original drawings. On the website, if you want someone to like narrate your adventure, what's his name? Dan Hughes, who made the game, has like a pre-recording you can download to like narrate it. So
That's fun.
if you want to like get in the theme and you're like, yeah, but I'm not good at that. Like I'm not gonna be good at like reading and saying like, so they have like the music and him narrating, and I just think that's really cool. So.
You know, I'm all for the Gloomhavens of the world, the heavy dungeon crawls. I also love Arcadia Quest as sort of a light beat-em-up
That's
dungeon
true.
crawl. And even that, though, is a little too heavy for the age that our kids are.
Yeah.
So if this is sort of dungeon crawl, like adventure in, finding treasure and stuff, but that the kids can play, man, I'm 100% on board. That sounds so
Yeah.
awesome.
It sounds really fun, and it just looks really cute, and the art looks awesome. So, yeah.
It's funny because so I looked through the whole list of games on BGG. There's like 400
I think
and
it's 480 something.
there's a lot. It's almost 500
Yeah,
games.
it's a lot.
And it's just funny to me that so far your 2 picks are 2 that I almost picked for my list.
Well, that's a good thing.
Maybe.
I think it'd be bad if I was like, "Whoa, those are my bottom 3."
right.
Like, so. What is your number 2?
Well, number 2 for me is a game that I picked solely off of the box art, and that is Starship Captains. So I saw this and I said, okay, it's CGE, and I've loved
like.
CGE forever, all the way back from like we played Dungeon Pets a lot of times, and up through like the code names.
Yeah.
And now we've been playing The Lost
Arnak.
Ruins of Arnak a lot, right? So, I mean, we've had a lot of CGE games
Those are
go,
good games.
on our shelves and out. We had Dungeon Lords way back when, and Mage Knight and all that stuff.
That's true.
Though I think Mage Knight was WizKids. But that's
Just
not the
throw
point.
it out there. Just put it in the pile.
Whatever.
Technically.
But I saw this, and I was like, well, okay, like this just looks fun.
Well, okay.
It looks like Star Trek sci-fi, and then I saw on the BGG preview that it's like a pool building game, whether that's deck building or a bag building or
chips
whatever.
or
I don't
something.
know. I have no idea. I'm assuming
I do
maybe
like
you're
games like that, though.
right. I love games like that. Maybe you're gathering crew
I like
members.
that it's random, but you're somewhat choosing your randomness.
Right. As far as I understand it, you're like gathering crew members, you're upgrading your crew, you have a ship, and your ship is like getting more powerful. You're building some sort of engine to do what? I'm not exactly sure. I don't care. I don't see how I couldn't like this.
You're the
I
Starship
want to go
Captain.
check it out. The only thing I'm disappointed in is that I don't think it's for sale at Gen Con. It's demo only. So all that's going to do is get me more excited. But I want to.
That's okay.
So I really am looking forward to checking out Starship Captains from CGE.
The cover looks like a new Netflix movie or something, doesn't it?
It looks like
a kid,
video
like a
game or
family,
something. Oh, yeah.
like a family movie that you're like, oh, this looks good. So, okay, my last one, is this one. I'm like, I don't know if this is good or bad.
No, this is good.
Turing Machine. So it's 1 to 4 players. It only takes 20 minutes, so it's like a short little, whatever. The punch card computer knows. Okay. So this is what it said about it. So Turing Machine is a fascinating, I don't know if you can like put that in your own thing, but fascinating and competitive deduction game. So you find the secret code before the other players by cleverly questioning the machine with like punch cards. So it's a proto computer that works without electricity. So you can play against people, you can combine as a team or do solo. But you're trying to figure out like a secret code in a certain way. You ask questions. I don't know exactly. So it could be like really interesting and cool. Like you bring it out at like a party and you're like, this only takes like 15, 20 minutes. Hey, let's just try it really quick. And like, that could be fun. Or it could be like, oh my gosh, this one is like so thinky that I'm like, I don't even want it. So I want to see it and check it out and be like, how does this work? And then I'm in or out.
To me, I feel like the only way this game could be a letdown is if it was too straightforward and too easy.
Easy or too, but like I remember in the past we played some sort of like gotta figure out the code game, and I was like, this is like so over the top that it's not like a fun interactive game because everybody's sitting there in silence being like, hold on, shut up, like I'm trying to, and I don't want a game that's so much that it's like I'm doing a math test. I don't want we all have a math test, flip your paper.
And I don't know how to play this game. I would love to check it out with you.
Yeah.
I know looking at the preview for it, it seemed like you're trying to solve some sort of logic puzzle, and the secret is not in necessarily just like figuring it out from what it gives you, but it's in figuring out how to ask the right questions by putting the right punch cards in this like analog computer to help you narrow down the answer.
Which I like that. That sounds interesting. But I just want to see it in person. This one seems so like different than most board games. I don't know if it is a board game, but it's so different that I'm like, I want to see this one in person.
Well, and I'm a programmer by trade. So,
God.
what's funny
Maybe
about that is I'm not old enough to have run punch cards through a computer, but a lot of the people I work or have worked with in the past talked about writing programs that come out as a punch card stack and having to run their program on punch cards. And so
you can bring this to work and you guys can have
not
a blast.
necessarily, but it's made me curious what it's like to play this game where it's like it's supposedly an analog computer running on punch cards, whether that's rudimentary or not.
I did see also in the thing, it was like there's over 7 million combinations of like codes you could try to figure out and play. So, like, it's not a game where you're like, well, there's 20 cards in here. It is, like, literally you probably randomize something, and it's like, here we go again. It's just never ending.
Yeah.
So, if it's fun, that's great then. But, well, I just want to see it.
I do, too. You're 3 out of 3 here, Em. I think you've done an excellent job in picking your choices because I am interested. Number 3 for me is Nightfall from Red Raven Games. And what got me excited about this was not necessarily the theme. Knights versus demons is sort of like,
Duh.
I feel like, but
Knights
but
and demons, those are like opposite themes or something.
I don't know. But here's the thing: this game has 3 modes. So it has a co-op mode where we'll play the knights versus AI controlled demons that we're trying to defend this cathedral against. Mm-hmm. There's the most exciting mode, I think, is team mode. So it's a up to 6 players, so it can be 3-on-3. I'm assuming 2-on-2 would also work. Maybe 1-on-1, who knows? But you get a knight or you get a demon. Like it's a standee, and you have your little player card. You're that guy. And it's a team game, so demons versus knights.
Like
you know?
That sounds like a bad football game, but okay.
Right? So, like, hey, of course we're playing the knights and the demons are the bad guys, right? So we got to beat them. Like, it's so... Team games on game night is just, like, can be so fun.
I love team games. I love co-op games so much. I also am the person who is high anxiety when it comes to a new game. So if we're, like, in a group and everyone's like, let me teach you this game, in my mind, I'm saying a couple swear words. So if all of a sudden we're on a team and I don't have to instantly know everything, like perfectly, I'm all for that. Plus it's fun. Like you said, it's like a bad football game. Like let's knights versus demons.
Obviously, we could never be on the same team. You're on the demons,
yes,
clearly.
I'm a demon. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. It also has a, what I saw in BGG anyway, is like a smallish sort of like story-based campaign. I have no idea how that works. It says 1 to 2 players. You play through this short 3 to 4 hours of gameplay campaign with branching paths. I'm not exactly sure. So
Should be fun.
It does 3 modes: co-op, team, and campaign game. That just sounds intriguing, and it was a fairly low price, I believe. I think it's going to be for sale at Gen Con. I thought I saw $45. I could be wrong on that. I don't have it up in front of me right here, but
You could be.
I don't know. For me, and it's Red Raven Games, right? They have a very good track record of some awesome games. So this is the next one from them. I want to check it out.
Cool.
Anyway, that's our preview. Let's check out what the other board vendors are excited to see at Gen Con.
Hey everyone, it's Nelson from Fantasy and Some Flights, and I'm really excited to talk about Gen Con that is coming up in just a couple of days from the publication of this video. And today, let's take a look at what 3 games I'm most excited for this year. The first being not necessarily a reprint, not an expansion, but a redo of Great Western Trail. So this is going to be Great Western Trail Argentina, designed by Alexander Pfister and published by Eggert Spiel, and it will be at Gen Con. You will be able to demo it, and I think it's coming out around like Q4 of this year. And so I'm really excited. I have the original one here. They did a reprint, and I don't have that one. They did change a couple of rules, but I'm really excited to dive into Argentina to see how they messed with the rules. They say it's a lot different. It feels kind of like they're pulling in elements from like Maracaibo, and then like kind of changing some of the routes that you can take, and it's not necessarily a set route. And so it seems really interesting, and what I'm really like intrigued about is if there's going to be space for both this game and Argentina in my collection. And so I will definitely be demoing this, and there will be a couple more that come in this kind of series. They announced last year that they're going to be, I think, Argentina, and then a couple other ones that I don't quite remember right now. But it's going to be, I think, really awesome. I absolutely love Great Western Trail, and so this is one that is definitely going to be near the top of my list to check it out. Number 2 comes in. It is Carnegie, and it's designed by Xavier Georges and published by Pegasus Spiel. And this is actually a Kickstarter that I ended up passing on, and I'm not quite sure why I passed on it, but it's one that has been fulfilled, and so you will be able to buy this one at Gen Con as well as demo it. And it's all about, the game is inspired by Andrew Carnegie, who was a benefactor and a philanthropist, and he donated over $350 million to the state. And so the game is kind of all about this economic route building game where you are trying to accumulate wealth to donate it to the state. All of those kind of words is what kind of drives at a game that I'm going to love. Economic supply chains, building routes across the United States, and it just feels like one of these that's going to be a very interactive economic game that I will very much enjoy. I'm definitely going to try it and see if I buy it. It's going to be one of those types of games. And then the last game that I'm really excited about is called Brazil Imperial. So this is designed by Z Mendez and published by Portal Games, and this is an economic 4X game, which is something I haven't really heard about. They're calling it a Euro X. And so it's basically a 4X, which is explore, exterminate, exploit, and expand. And they've combined that with some Euro elements like collecting and managing resources. And so it's a civilization building game. And you're basically building an empire in Brazil. And so it's it feels like it's going to be very hit or very miss for me, because they've taken so many mechanics that I adore and kind of push them into a cornucopia of a game, and we'll see if how that gets pulled off. Because sometimes when I've seen these types of games, they have been very trying to do too many things and does not do one thing well, and I'm afraid that that's what this is going to be. However, it has gotten some really good reviews, and it's definitely one that I'm going to be checking out. It is a longer game. It's going to be a game that will not be a, hey, let's pull this out on Wednesday night type of game, but it is one that could be an all-day kind of affair, and something that has really kind of caught my eye, because I love 4X, I love economic, I love Euro games, and so kind of combining them all together is not something that I've played before. I know Ben, I was talking with Ben, he said Eclipse is kind of like this. I have not played Eclipse, and so maybe I need to check that one out as well. But I'm really excited about this kind of genre of games, and especially this one, which will be able to be demoed at Gen Con. So those are the three that I am most excited about. There are a ton more that I am excited about, but I did have to narrow it down to 3 for this video. But I'm excited to see you all there. Come say hi, and let's demo some games together.
Hey you guys, really quick, Board Game Critic here, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you the 3 games that I'm looking forward to most seeing and hopefully experiencing at Gen Con this year, which is 2022. Okay, there are no games that I'm like absolutely over the moon excited about, because I have so many current games on my shelf that I want to get to that I haven't, so I'm not actually looking for a ton of like new games or the new hotness necessarily, but there are 3 games that caught my eye and that I might come home with if they're for sale. So, pick number 1, The Quacks of Quedlinburg Junior Edition. So, I know this won't apply to most of you, but if you have kids, I'm so excited that they made this. Quacks of Quedlinburg has been one of my favorite games over the last couple years, and this promises to be around a 25-minute version, an adaptation for kids. If I can play this and have a decent time with my kids, win all around. So excited to check it out, see if it's something that I'll enjoy playing with my kids, because for me, that is the true hallmark of a kid's game that is worth it, is if I can have fun while playing it. If it's me babysitting my kids playing it, not worth it. No, if I can enjoy quality time that I enjoy with my kids, then awesome. Next, we have Dandelions. Now, Dandelions, I remember coming across Kickstarter in a bundle of 3 games that were out of Japan, and I was not on board with all 3, so I didn't back it. But Dandelions is now being published fully in the US, and it promises to be a quick game, more of like a pocket style game that you could easily take traveling, but it seemed like it had some really interesting mechanics with like the wind blowing and moving your dandelion seeds around. So while I hate dandelions and it pains me to play a game about spreading them, it actually looks like an adorable and fun little game. Finally, and probably the one that I'm most excited about for like actual gamer value, is Dice Theme Park. Now, you probably know Dice Hospital, so this is a follow-up to Dice Hospital. Dice Hospital, great game, but it has this feeling of just being a little bit of like a first stab at what it should really be. In the same way that I feel like they really hit their stride with Dinosaur World instead of Dinosaur Island. I'm getting those names right? I'm pretty sure. It just seems like there will be learnings from Dice Hospital that will make Dice Theme Park so much better. So I'm excited to dive into that. I've held off buying Dice Hospital because there's just this je ne sais quoi that I have like kind of missed in it. And I'm hoping, really hoping, that Dice Theme Park really amps that up. Also, theme parks are such a better theme than hospitals. It just is. So those are the 3 that I'm excited for. Let's pass it over to other board vengers. And remember to like, subscribe, and click all the things, because it really does help us as a group create better content for you.
Hello gamers, it's Professor Meg here, and I am so excited to be going to Gen Con. I absolutely cannot wait. This is going to be my first Gen Con ever. I love conventions, but I've never gotten to go to a Gen Con, so there are many games that I cannot wait to check out, many publishers, different booths. But here are 3 games that I am also very excited to check out at Gen Con. So first off is Fortify. Fortify is by Barrel Aged Games. Now, I don't know a ton about Fortify, but I've played their other game, Moonshine Empire, which I absolutely love. So I'm really excited to find them, go by their booth, and learn more about Fortify. Fortify seems very cute. It's it's either tiles or cards that you're laying to stack your boxes to make different pathways for how you're going to roll dice and throw water balloons at people. I have no idea how the mechanics work, just what it looks like, but it looks very fun. It looks almost like a competitive version of Bandito to me. So I really want to check it out, and I'm really excited just to find out more about how it plays. So that's what I really want to see. And the next one that I cannot wait to go by, it's this little game called Dice Throne. Dice Throne is definitely been around the block before, but I had never played Dice Throne until now. So I got to play Dice Throne a few weeks ago with Devin from Devin Talks Tabletop, and it was such an exciting game. I am amazing with dice, and for the final blow of the game, I got like the ultimate that I needed 2 more, I rolled both of them, got 1, rolled my last die, and then unleashed, and I creamed him. It was so fun. So now I can't wait to check out more. I know you guys know I love campaign style games, and I really want to see Dice Throne Adventure. I want to see the Marvel Dice Throne stuff. I just cannot wait to be fully immersed in the Dice Throne world. As someone who is good at rolling dice and usually hits crits, like, I don't know how I wasn't obsessed with this before. I had just never had the chance to play, so I cannot wait to see the Dice Throne table. And then the third game that I cannot wait to see, I've actually already played this on Tabletop Simulator, but it is Harrow County. Harrow County is by Off the Page Games. You might know them from a little game called Mind Management. And Harrow County is going to be their newest Kickstarter. Harrow County is a comic that I think it may be set in Massachusetts, which is where I'm from. But it's very spooky, very witchy. It has to do with like ancient like demons that are in the wilderness, and it's a really fun spooky story. It's a comic that I was reading from issue 1 when it came out. It was a Wednesday. I picked it up right away. I read that comic right from the beginning, so to see it turned into a board game is so cool. And I got to play it already on Tabletop Simulator with Jay, who is the maker of the game, and it was so much fun. It is a hexagonal tile game where you're trying to make different, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You're trying to do different things like reach point A, B, and C, and you're also attacking. And the coolest thing about it is there's a tree in the comics, and in the game, the tree is a cube tower. So it uses a cube system for the combat where you're putting your cubes in of your color, say red, and your opponent's putting in their blue cubes, and you shake them all around, and then you use the tower to let different cubes drop out, and depending on who has more cubes, that's who wins the combat. It's very cool because as your cubes start coming out, you may be winning the combat, but then you have less cubes in the tower, and you have to kind of balance that by putting more and more cubes in. It's something that I'm really excited to see in gaming, that I don't have any games like this, that I got to play it online, but I cannot wait to see it in person. I'm going to get to play it again, and yeah, I'm really, really excited about that. And as a final runner-up, as you guys may or may not know, I am the community manager now for Addicts Games. Addicts Games previously developed Crimson Scales, which is a Gloomhaven expansion. That was one that they were just producing the copies for people, but they are now making their own game called Rove. Rove is a cooperative campaign game. It's for 1 to 4 players. I don't want to say a dungeon crawler. I mean, it absolutely is, but it's all in these beautiful, luscious environments like forests and mountains. It's beautiful, and I will be running a table for Rove at the Foreteller booth. So I will be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. Come by and say hi, check out Rove, and I cannot wait to see you there. Alright, and that is all, guys. If you are at Gen Con 2022, please say hi to me. I will have this color red hair, except on Saturday, which I will be in cosplay. But if you see me bouncing around the convention halls, please say hi. Feel free to interrupt. I always love to meet people, and I hope I see you there. Bye!